Chapter 5. Shea stared at the blood-stained floor, pushing away the haunting memories of her mother's death. Her hand tightened on the shirt soaked with Derek's blood before tossing it into the garbage. She pulled out a mop and rolling bucket from the broom closet. With the bucket in the janitor sink, she poured in floor cleaner and turned on the water. As the bucket filled, Shea caught a glimpse of her scar-riddled face in the aluminum cover of the paper towel dispenser. Something inside her twisted. She pounded the dispenser, denting her reflection. What's past is past, she thought. She'd long since given up crying and feeling sorry about her disfigured face. Now, she just wanted to hurt whoever shot Derek. Whether it was the Jaguars, the Thunder, or a local junkie, she didn't care. One thing Ralph had taught her was when someone came at you, you had to push back, hard. You had to send a message you weren't someone to be fucked with. Otherwise, they'd keep coming after you. Shea dragged the mop bucket into the showroom. The front door chimed. Terrance, Monica, Switch, and Lakota wandered in, surveying the damage. Terrance stood a few inches taller than Shea, but with his bodybuilder's physique, he looked much bigger. His trim, full beard and tidy afro gave him a cuddly teddy bear look.
We were next door at the cafe when we saw the CSU van leave.
Terrance assessed the damage.
Robbers sure didn't miss much, did they?
Nope. He followed her to the mess on the floor.
Man, that's a lot of blood. Sure hope homeboy pulls through.
Me too.
How is he?
Still listed in critical condition. Doc's not sure if he'll make it or not.
Damn. You think he was in on the robbery?
She ran a hand through her hair. Not sure. Don't want to think about it.
He has been showing up late to work the past week. Maybe he's smoking crystal again.
She stared at the mess on the floor, refusing to acknowledge Terrance's point.
I called the glass company,
he said.
They're sending someone by later today.
The others approached. Lakota, keep Switch away from this. Don't need her getting all triggered and freaky. She had hired Lakota after the woman had transitioned out of a halfway house for alcoholism. Her deep-set eyes and strong nose, coupled with a gentle smile, gave her a motherly appearance. In addition to her skills as a mechanical engineer, Lakota's other gift was calming down Switch when she got triggered. Switch, a lanky woman with bushy hair that always looked unkempt, had joined the crew after being released from a long-term mental facility. She'd been abused by her folks as a small child. Shea didn't know the details, but gathered it was the kind of horror story you read about in the papers. Whatever hell Switch had endured left her triggered by certain things, like blood or people yelling. Once set off, she became a whole different person, and things tended to get broken. Come on, Switch, Lakota said, as if talking to a child. Let's see what's going on in the workshop.
Let me get some gloves and pick up that trash before you start mopping,
Terrance said. Monica walked over, covering her mouth and looking a little green. Monica, don't you go vomiting and give me more shit to clean up, Shea scolded. I'm all right. She didn't sound convincing. Monica, who served as Iron Goddess's salesperson, had worked there almost as long as Shea had. Her bleach blonde hair and immaculate makeup reminded Shea of an aging biker magazine model. She was still the closest any of them came to normal. No criminal record or drug problems, just a fondness for motorcycles. You saved his life, huh? Shea shrugged. Maybe. We'll see. They should write an article about you in the newspaper. Yeah, right. Ex-con saves former junkie after break-in. Great headline. Okay, maybe not. Assuming they didn't steal our computers, I need you to print out our current inventory and figure out what got stolen. Yes, ma'am. Monica hurried away to the office. And stop calling me ma'am, Shea called after her. Makes me feel old. Terrance gathered up the medical waste the EMTs had left.
What are we going to do about the stolen pink trinket spikes?
I got a plan, but you ain't going to like it, Shea replied.
I was afraid you were going to say that.
With the mess cleaned up, Shea and Terrance met in the office for an owners' meeting, while Monica, Switch, and Lakota took inventory of what had been stolen. Shea sat flicking the spark wheel on her Zippo. Lenny Slater, the former owner, had given it to her on her first anniversary at the shop. It no longer had any lighter fluid and hadn't since she'd quit smoking 4 years earlier. but she held on to it as a reminder of Lenny. Whenever she had trouble figuring something out, she flicked it until a spark of inspiration hit her.
Shea, we need to call the pink trinkets and let them know what happened.
Terrance swirled the coffee in a styrofoam cup from the cafe next door. No fucking way, she shook her head. I don't want to give the Trinks a reason to cancel the contract. We can't afford it. I'm going to find them bikes and put a hurt on whoever shot Derek.
The show's 2 weeks away. We don't even have time to rebuild them, so unless you know who has the bikes, we need to cancel.
T, I ain't giving up on this project. I'll find the bikes, and with a little luck, get some justice for Derek. She could still feel the stickiness of Derek's blood on her hands, though they'd been washed.
Okay, Miss Nancy Drew, what's your plan?
Goblin thinks the Jaguars might be behind the break-in.
The Mexican street gang?
Terrance's eyes widened.
Sister, if they got your bikes, let them go. Don't go messing with them psychos and their drug cartel buddies unless you want to be strung up from Memorial Bridge with your guts hanging out.
He crushed his empty cup and tossed it in the trash. Shea shook her head. They put Derek in the hospital, busted up our shop, and stole half our goddamn inventory. It's time for payback.
Payback? Shea, do you hear yourself? You sound like your old man.
Terrance's words sent a shock of fury through her body, like she'd been hit with a stun gun. Her fist tightened on the lighter. Don't ever compare me to that fucking piece of shit.
Shea, listen to yourself. Since when are you all vigilante and shit? This ain't you.
He put his hand on her arm. She jerked it away. That was before they tried to kill one of our crew. You want to survive in this world, you gotta set boundaries. When someone crosses them, you either make them pay a price or they'll continue walking all over you.
We've been building bikes for what, 10 years? I care about you, despite your pasty complexion and a face that resembles a Shar-Pei's ass.
Shea smirked at his attempt at humor. Uh-huh.
We are not a motorcycle club. We are not a street gang. We are business owners.
Your point?
Point is, we care about our employees, but we don't go to war over them. Not with the Jaguars.
These people aren't just my employees, T. They're my family.
Fine. Family's good. I got my own son, Elijah, to think about. You got Jessica. You want to put them at risk?
What's your plan? Tuck our tails between our legs, tell the Trinks, sorry, ladies, your bikes got stolen. Here's your money back. We can't afford it. We already spent the money on parts and materials.
If we have to, yes. The Trinks will understand. It ain't like we didn't finish the bikes. We got robbed.
If we let this go unanswered, we look weak and are inviting more of the same. I grew up in the local criminal culture. Vulnerability is liability. We got a reputation to uphold.
Jesus H. Christ, Shea. What good's a reputation if you're dead? Maybe we can hire a few temps. Hellbent Cycles down in Phoenix has been wanting to collaborate for years. Maybe this is an opportunity.
The Pink Trinkets didn't hire Hellbents to build their bikes. They hired us. Terrance buried his head in his hands and groaned.
Fine. What do you suggest?
You used to buy Adderall from one of the Jaguars, didn't you? What was his name? Oscar? She clicked away at her Zippo as a plan formed in her head.
That was 15 years ago. Dude's probably dead or in prison.
Or maybe not. You mentioned once his family owns a taqueria, right?
Tres Olivos, up in Ironwood.
Terrance's voice sagged with defeat. Thought so. She smiled, clicking her Zippo all the faster.
Shea, even in the unlikely chance you find him, you think he's gonna rat on his own crew?
Her smile faded. I'll remind him I'm Ralph's daughter. Unless he wants a war with the Confederate Thunder, his crew needs to make things right.
Oh, so suddenly you're Ralph's daughter after all. Have you lost your freaking mind? You don't have any pull with the MC.
Yeah, but Oscar don't know that.
This is gonna go sideways, I just know it.
He shook his head.
When do you plan to do this?
Today, after I call the insurance guy and we get this place cleaned up, you and I are having a late lunch at Tres Olivos. Lakota opened the door. Geez, you guys, can you keep it down? Switch is already freaky-deaky about Derek getting shot. You two yelling in here is getting her more wound up. Shea sighed. Sorry, guess we're all a little worked up today. I'll go talk to her. Let her know Mommy and Daddy are done arguing. Where is she? Lakota pointed with her thumb. In the garage, by the eye wash station. Shea followed her out to where Switch sat on a stool facing the wall, twisting a strand of her long hair and muttering to herself. I told her I never went in there. That's Daddy's drawers. I knew little girls aren't allowed in Daddy's drawers. But she didn't listen. No, she called me Mentirosa, liar. Switch. Shea pulled up another stool. She was tempted to put a calming hand on Switch's shoulder. But last time she'd done that, Switch broke Shea's nose with her elbow. Hey, Switch, it's me, Shea. You with us, kiddo? She said, don't you touch that razor. Tried to tell her it wasn't me. It was Jaime that done it. Ouch, ouch. No, Mommy. Please, Mommy. Come on back, Switch. Nobody's gonna hurt you. Everybody loves Switch. She shuddered to think what hell the girl had endured at the hands of her sadistic parents. Switch turned and looked at her, eyes wide with fear, arms tucked close to her frail body. Everyone loves Switch? Yeah, you're safe, darling. Like a puma, Switch pounced at her, wrapping her arms tight around Shea's torso. The suddenness of the move startled Shea, but she held Switch for a few moments until the darkness faded enough for the young woman to reconnect to the present. Switch leaned back, face blank. I got work to do. She stood up and walked off to where she'd been working on a fuel injection module, as if the meltdown a moment earlier never happened. Shea stood to go back to the office. Lakota stopped her. Whatever's going on between you and Terrance, work it out quietly before she gets any worse. Yes, boss. Shea knew Lakota was right, but was too worked up herself to keep the sarcasm out of her voice. No sooner had she sat at her desk than Monica poked her head in the doorway. Hey, your Scottsdale housewife girlfriend is here. Would you quit calling her that? She's not a housewife. She works at an insurance company. She looked through the office window and saw Jess, dressed to the nines as always. The perfect complement to Shea's baggy Iron Goddess t-shirt, sans bra, and grease-stained jeans. Shea waved, and Jessica blew her a kiss. Sorry, I figured Lady Jessica Taylor of the Scottsdale Tailors sounded a bit pompous, Monica replied with a smirk. Gee, you think? Be nice. Shea walked out of the office and gave Jessica a hug. Hey, babe. Hi, sweetie. Morning, Monica. Oh, hi, Jessica, Monica said with a saccharine grin. She went to assist a customer who'd walked in with Jessica. Jessica looked Shea up and down. You're ready to go? Go? Oh, shit. That's right, sushi. Can you give me a rain check? We're still sorting through this mess. Besides, Terrance and I have a business lunch in a while. I'll join you. Would love you to, but you can't. Why not? Well, it's sort of... There's going to be some tense negotiating there. You'd be bored. And in mortal danger, Shea thought. When will I see you? I feel like you're more committed to the store than you are to our relationship. Shea sighed. Well, I am the co-owner, and I have been for several years. You and I have only been dating a few months. What are you saying? Jessica pouted. Shea hated when she did that. Look, sweetie, I'll be home after work, and we can finally have some quality time. Maybe we can grab some sushi for dinner. Okay. Kisses. Jessica gave her a peck on the lips and walked to the plywood-covered door. Love what you've done with the place. Very minimalist.